Hey, and welcome. So, today we're going to dive into something we do every single day, usually without even thinking about it greeting people. It seems so simple, right? A quick hello, and you just move on. But as we're about to see, that simple little act is absolutely packed with hidden rules, social anxiety, and some really fascinating cultural differences. Okay, let's kick things off with a classic. Someone walks by and hits you with a, "What's up?" So, what do you do? Do you launch into a full update on your life? Or do you just kind of nod and say, "Hey, back"? This one single phrase perfectly captures the confusion that's right at the heart of our everyday greetings. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to peel back all the layers of a simple hello. First, we'll solve that "what's up" puzzle. Then we'll look at the difference between textbook phrases and how people actually talk. We'll explore why greetings can feel so awkward. And finally, we'll take a look at how the rest of the world connects. All right, first up, let's solve this mystery once and for all. What's up? Is it a real question? Well, the answer, it turns out, is kinda both. You see, this one little phrase has two totally different personalities. A lot of the time, it's just a greeting, a substitute for hi or hey. You walk into a room and say, "What's up, everyone?" You're not expecting a dozen different answers, right? It's just a way of saying, "I'm here." But then, it can be a genuine question. If your friend says, "I heard a strange sound from your room. What's up?" Yeah, they are definitely expecting an answer. It really all just comes down to the context. So when it is a real question, how are you supposed to respond? Well, you've got a whole spectrum of options. If you're feeling fantastic, you can go with "never better." If things are just normal, a simple same old works perfectly. And if you're not doing so hot, something like "I've been better" is a good way to signal that. But here's a little heads up. If you don't know the person that well, launching into a 10-minute story might be a bit much. So the most crucial thing to remember is know your audience. But "what's up" is really just the tip of the iceberg. The English language has this incredible variety of greetings, and every single one has its own hidden social code. The range is just huge. You've got everything from the casual "what's going on" to the super informal, kind of slangy "yo" or "sup," which of course is literally just "what's up" smushed into one syllable. And then, way over on the other end, you have the ultra-formal, almost old-fashioned "how do you do?" Each one sends a completely different social signal. Let's just take the two extremes. "How do you do?" is so formal that the traditional response is just to say "how do you do" right back at them. It's not really a question about your well-being, it's more like a password, a ritual. Now compare that to "sup." That's so informal, you'd probably only use it with your closest friends, and the response is just as brief, not much, or just "sup" back. It just goes to show you how critical the social context really is. And this brings us to a really important point, especially for anyone learning a language. There's often this huge gap between what you learn in a book and how people speak in the real world. Think about it. Every textbook teaches you hello. And it's correct, of course, but in everyday life, you're just way more likely to hear "hi," or the even more casual "hey," or as we've seen, "what's up." Honestly, hello can sometimes sound a little stiff. It's the same exact thing with the classic "how are you?" Sure, it's used all the time, but you'll also hear more relaxed versions like "how's it going?" Or if you're a fan of the show Friends, you'll definitely recognize "how you doing?" And if you haven't seen someone in a while, "how have you been?" is probably the most natural choice. And that classic response, "I'm fine, thanks." It can sound a little robotic, can it? Real-world responses are usually more nuanced. "Doing well" is positive and breezy. "Not bad" is a classic understatement. It often means things are actually pretty good. And same old is just the perfect neutral response when, not much has changed. Okay, so if we know all these phrases, why can these simple exchanges still feel so incredibly awkward? Let's get into the psychology of it. We've all been there, that slightly cringy back and forth. "How's it going?" "Good. You?" "Good." It can feel almost meaningless, like we're just reading lines from a social script we're all forced to follow. And that emptiness can create that little moment of awkward silence right after it's over. And this right here, this is the source of all the anxiety. It's that split second of hesitation. Did they say "what's up" just to be polite as they walk past, or do they actually want to stop and chat? Misreading that signal, that's what we're all secretly afraid of. And there are some pretty deep psychological reasons we overthink this stuff. First, there's this sudden pressure to perform, to have something witty or fascinating to say. We worry that if we just say nothing much, we're going to sound boring. For some people, it can even feel a bit like an interrogation, putting them on the spot. And of course, we all have those memories of past awkward encounters that these simple phrases can instantly bring back. Now, let's zoom out. Because this complexity, this ritual, this search for connection, this isn't unique to English. Not at all. Greeting rituals are a fundamental part of human culture all over the world. In Thailand, for instance, you have the Y. It's this beautiful and respectful greeting. But it's not just a gesture. It's a way of communicating social standing. The deeper you bow to an elder, the more profound your respect. It's a similar idea in Japan and South Korea, where the bow is just a core part of social etiquette. It's really an art form. A quick little nod between friends is totally different from the deep, long bow you might give to a respected elder. It's a whole physical language of respect. And then there's this, which is just incredible. The traditional Maori hangi in New Zealand is this profoundly intimate and spiritual greeting. Two people press their noses and foreheads together to literally share the breath of life. It's a symbol of unity and trust that creates a connection that goes so much deeper than a simple handshake. Ultimately, all these rituals, whether it's a quick "what's up" or a deeply meaningful hangi, they all share the same fundamental purpose. The point is simply to get someone talking, and as long as that happens, well, the mission is accomplished. It's all about opening a channel for human communication. So, the most important takeaway here is this. We get so wrapped up in trying to find the perfect phrase, the wittiest response, but that's not the goal. The real purpose of a greeting is simply to connect, to acknowledge another person, and to open the door for a potential interaction. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. What if we just stopped worrying about saying the right thing, and instead just focused on the simple, sincere act of reaching out? What if we approached every single hello not as some kind of test that we could fail, but just as an opportunity to connect? You know, that might just change everything.